Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be your favorite Filipino expat, Bianca in Japan. And today we are going to talk about a very important topic, which is how to know what you want in a Japanese apartment. Let's go. I'm not gonna get too deep into the location of the apartment, but here's my take. If you're gonna go to Japan to speak and practice your Japanese, if you want more culture, history, if you want more nature, and you're looking for a less expensive place to stay, then avoid Tokyo. Maybe you want to go to Nagoya. In Nagoya, you can expect like a decent space for only 30,000 to 50,000 yen. Somewhere a little bit central to Nagoya too. You want to go maybe to Osaka and Kyoto recently. They're a little bit more expensive nowadays because of the influx of tourists, but they're still less expensive than Tokyo. Maybe you want to go to Fukuoka, where you can also get rent from 30,000 to 50,000 yen. And then maybe you want to go to Hokkaido, to Aomori, to Sendai, just not Tokyo. Because Tokyo, let me tell you, Tokyo is expensive. But if you really want to be closer to Tokyo for some reason, for example, it's your dream to be closer to Tokyo, or for example, your school or your work requires you to be closer to Tokyo, then maybe what you want to do is to avoid Tokyo itself and just go with the places like Saitama, Kanagawa, Yokohama, Chiba, where there's still decent space for a decent price, understandable price. If you want to go a little bit closer, you can consider the Shi areas of Tokyo, which is the outskirts of Tokyo, like Hachioji-shi, Gyose-shi. Those places are a little bit more affordable. If you have no choice and you really want to be in the 23 wards of Tokyo, the Ku areas of Tokyo, let me tell you, it's gonna get expensive. What you want to do in that case is go with the south east areas, for example, south areas, Otaku, or the cheapest ku, the Katsushika-ku, or Arakawa-ku, Adachi-ku. If you're gonna go deeper into the center, it's gonna be more expensive for less space. If you're going to get an apartment in Minato-ku, which is the most expensive ku, expect you're gonna spend a lot for a decent space. So think maybe 130,000 at the lowest, 150,000 or 170,000 for a 1 LDK, let's say. If you're gonna go with Nakano-ku, Shinjuku-ku, Shibuya-ku, these areas are super expensive. So please bear that in mind when you're finding an apartment. Next, once you've decided on the location of the apartment you want to be in, the next thing you want to check is the layout of the apartment. Are you okay with just being in a one-room apartment? A one-room apartment is an apartment with the kitchen in the main room, the same room as your bedroom, with the bathroom still separated. So that means that you're okay with having the smell come in to your bedroom when you're cooking, for example. In short, one room apartments do not have any separation. And if you're not okay with that, maybe you're more okay with a 1K apartment, one room kitchen apartment, where your kitchen is still separated from your bedroom and you can close the door and there's no food smell coming in. Of course, you will still have to eat in the same area as your bed. Next, 1DK apartments. 1DK apartment is you will have a dining space and a kitchen space together with a separate room. So maybe that's a little bit better, but there's still no living space or place to put your couch. If you want a place to put your couch, maybe you want to do a 1LDK apartment, one room, living, dining, kitchen. And then it goes on from there. For example, you can change the one to a two. So that means, like, for example, a two-room apartment is two separate rooms. 2K, two rooms and a kitchen. So same thing. And it goes on and on, for example. 3 LDK, 4 LDK, same thing. Sometimes what you might see that will throw you off is, for example, a 1 SLDK apartment. The S is the service room. So basically, it's an extra room or a storage room. It's not fit to be a bedroom, for example, because it doesn't have windows, or, for example, the separation, the wall is maybe thin, that sort of thing. So it's not built to be a bedroom or a room, but it's still a separate space. The next consideration is the build of the apartment. You have to ask yourself, are you okay with a wooden apartment? So, the benefit of the wooden apartment is it's cheaper. The downside is you'll be able to hear your neighbor, and your neighbor will be able to hear you. And there won't be such good insulation for the heat and the cold during the season changes. There's also a possibility that you might smell the food coming from your neighbor's house and it will seep into your apartment. The next thing is the steel apartment. Steel frame apartment isn't much different from the wooden apartment, but the thing is, steel frame apartments are a little bit sturdier with regards to earthquakes. Hmm. After that, I think a step up will be a reinforced concrete apartment. So that's good because you won't be able to hear your neighbor. It's going to be hard to hear your neighbor with a concrete apartment. Also, there's good insulation during the season changes. And then the next one, another step up is the steel reinforced concrete building. So usually newer apartments have that build. It is very sturdy against high earthquake intensity. Once you've decided what you're okay with, another step to take would be to decide on if you're okay with an old apartment or not. It depends. Actually, any apartment past 1981 is part of the law that they have to be built to be earthquake proof. So that's one standard that you might not want to compromise on. But other than that, there's really no problem going with an apartment that's 30 years or 40 years. But take note that if your apartment is that old, the fixtures in the apartment will be that old as well. For example, the air conditioning and for example, the tub. So you just have to see if they renovated on certain parts or if they changed the air conditioning. Some people want to go a little bit newer. What I recommend is the sweet spot is from 20 years. 20 years. It's a little bit, the price is still expensive because it's still a new apartment, but it's not that crazy. Other than that, some considerations people have is having the bathroom separate the toilet, the bath, and the sink spaces, or maybe some people are just okay with having them all together. People consider, for example, whether the apartment has a Neuralink Hikari port. So that's another issue. Like if you're working from home, then you may want that faster internet, cheaper internet. But if you're okay with just having the regular JCOM internet that you can connect with like the phone line, then that's another thing that you may consider. You have to do your research on that. Aside from that, if you're okay with having a gas stove or an electric stove, if you're okay with having your apartment furnished or unfurnished, or some people consider bike space, those things are things that people consider here in Japan. So, guys, that's the end of the video. I think that I was able to convey an idea of how to look for an apartment here in Japan. If you have any questions, you can contact me at roxas, ROXAS, at sumaynoseika.com. I'm going to put that email below. Or if you want to have more of these videos, please subscribe and let's keep this channel growing. Let's go! Bye!